history on this. And Dr. Knapp, what can you tell us on the current wind speed and where this thing goes from here and who it hits next?
It's still a major hurricane, still a Category 3, and it's about to exit the state of Florida north of...
Would have confiscated weapons of those accused of domestic violence played a partial role in Golden's F rating.
It's one of several bills that he was graded on, yes. The objection to this bill is that it would take guns away from anyone on the basis of an accusation. And Mr. Golden voted for it, fully aware of those due process objections.
On another controversial topic, health care, the facts are complex.
He voted to repeal the ACA without any plan to replace it whatsoever.
But Poliquin disagrees with that interpretation.
I was one of 3 Republicans in the country in the House a couple years ago, one of my first votes, I guess it was 3 years ago, 2015, not to repeal the ACA because there was no viable replacement.
It is something that would have allowed states to opt out of providing protections for people with pre-existing conditions.
The bill Poliquin voted for, which would have repealed the ACA, included stabilizing premiums for people with pre-existing conditions. That proposal was never enacted.
Now, the health care debate goes much deeper than the ACA. Obviously, there are questions about universal access to health care, and there's a lot of issues to dive into in a deep way. So if you want to hear more from these candidates on these issues, you can go to our website and rewatch the full debate, as well as catch the schedule for the upcoming debates as well.
And use the hashtags as well. We have all the info there. That way we know what you're talking about. Okay, speaking of diving in, today would have been a great day to make one last dive, maybe into the ocean.
Goldberg is at home jumping into the pool.
I know. It's, what are we, 84 degrees right now at 5 p.m.?
Pool, maybe. These are high temperatures, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Ocean, not so much. Actually, shoot, I wish we had one more warm day. I'd be like, Lindsay, let's go. We'll jump in tomorrow. Yeah. 84 was the high officially in Portland today, breaking the old record. And Augusta broke a record as well at 83 degrees. But look at Caribou. 55 was the high temperature, and they've only fallen from there to 47. Meanwhile, still 82 in Portland, 81 in Sanford, and 80 in Lewiston. So very clear where the front is, and it's inching its way to the south and west, bringing with it that cooler air and drier air as well, because southern Maine, the dew points are very high for October. That's the thing that stands out to me about this particular warm-up is we do tend to get a couple of rogue warm days in October, but they don't tend to be humid like this with the uncomfortable to almost oppressive readings in the upper 60s, but that goes with the story of our summer, right? It was a very humid summer in general. A couple of showers out there. Looks like even a thunderstorm popping up along 95 there. That is something that you don't see much convective thunderstorm activity in October 10th. But there it is, and meanwhile the showers associated with that front itself and the clouds as well. So the front works southward tonight. Temperatures drop into the 50s eventually, pretty much statewide. By tomorrow morning we're sitting between 40s and 50s, and it turns nasty. Showers transitioning to actual heavier rain on Thursday afternoon, and then another round of heavy rain Thursday night. And then what's left of Michael will make its closest pass to us on Friday, giving us some gusty winds and cloudy conditions. Guys, we're going to talk more about Michael. That's ongoing right now, that landfall, and we'll have a look into the weekend in a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks so much. Speaking of, Michael did make landfall today near Mexico Beach, Florida. It's almost a Category 5 storm and smashed records as the strongest ever to roar onto the state's exposed panhandle.
High winds and heavy rains lashed the coast. More than 170,000 homes and businesses already were without power, and the number is rising rapidly. It could reach into the millions from the potentially catastrophic Cat 4 storm, which was packing sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, just 2 miles per hour short of Cat 5 status. A former Hampton Academy student was one of the 20 victims of a deadly limo crash in upstate New York on Saturday afternoon. Michael Ukai, a former combat Marine, was celebrating his 34th birthday on October 6th with friends when the limousine he was riding in lost control and crashed into a parked car.
According to NBC News, Ukai and 18 of his friends who rented the limousine for a surprise birthday party for their friend Amy Steenberg all died in the crash in a town about 40 miles north of Albany, New York. The driver also hit and killed 2 pedestrians. The crash was the deadliest vehicular accident in nearly a decade.
Students getting a first look at their brand new Sanford High School this morning during the first day of classes there. Here's how they reacted.
There are 2 screens.
Students got their first look at the brand new Sanford High School today during their first day of class. At more than $100 million, the school is the most expensive in Maine's history. The Sanford Superintendent of Schools says the building is more than a decade in the making from the time the school department applied for the state funding to build it.
Its state-of-the-art design was built with safety in mind, with a new fire and lockdown system, as well as dozens of cameras. 10% of the overall cost came from taxpayer money. The school is designed to integrate both vocational education and career-driven learning with a technical center and 4 wings dedicated to specific subjects to give students a clear idea of what they might like to study in college.
What's amazing about this school is it's really redesigned on how we do both technical or vocational education and high school education. We've integrated the two together so that it's more of a real-life situation.
We've been crammed into a building for almost 20 years now that was busting at the seams and in portable classrooms. This is a really a bright spot and a beacon of hope for this community.
All right, well, speaking of high schoolers or even middle schoolers, if you have them, you've probably seen this article pop up online. It's being shared all over social media and starting quite a conversation.
Even in our newsroom. But is it true? Sam Muir, can you really be arrested or fined for going trick-or-treating if you're a certain age?
Right? This seems crazy. I was still trick-or-treating with my little brothers through high school. So this is where we want to hear from you guys at home. Do you think teens should be allowed to trick-or-treat if they're over the age of 12? You can cast your vote by going to the poll section of our app or by going to pulse.newscentermaine.com. So is it illegal to go trick-or-treating if you're over the age of 12? Well, let's verify. Halloween.
All right,
okay.
So we had some technical difficulties there. It's all good. But Sam, can you give us the quick answer for those? And then maybe we could get to it a little later if we figure it out.
Okay, so basically, it's real. So in Chesapeake, Virginia, if you are over the age of 12, you are not allowed to go trick-or-treating. You can be fined up to $100, and you can even spend 6 months in the slammer.
Wow.
Like, it's just crazy.
So now I'm more curious to know how we get to that decision. I'm sure we're going to learn more about that and that sort of thing. But we have this great Pulse poll going on right now. Some of you already weighing in. Some of you saying, yes, 70%. And then, you know, a good chunk too, 36% saying, I don't care.
Well, and we were talking earlier too that, like, isn't it good that teens would want to go out and, like, do something fun and safe and, you know, right, or smashing kids' pumpkins, you know? It's, I think it's
What kind of kids did you hang out with in high school? My friends, we would have a nice Halloween party, bobbing for apples. And
Aw. All right. Well, we'll get that up there.
That's a discussion for a different time.
Yeah. Technology things, they happen. We'll get it up there in a little bit.
All right, cool.
All right, speaking of technology, let's see if Snap Maps is working today because we love this. Okay, for some reason, you guys are all Snapchatting your cats today. Like, that's really all we saw across the board. I love this trick. I don't have a cat. You don't either, right?
No, I don't.
But I have seen friends' cats, when you have the laser going, they go crazy over it.
All right, and then take a look at this other one from this morning. A cat having fun with some blankets. I feel like there's probably a person under those blankets somewhere because or just like, hey, wake up.
Yeah, it's 8:03. Gotta go. All right, not today. You're not coming with me today. Nope. That's what's going on here.
Well, I can't get it.
Oh, there's two.
You guys love cat videos. I wish we had an explanation for that. We're gonna look into that.
Yeah, we will for sure. Yeah, why are we so into these cat videos? Okay. All right, 2 Portlands are going head to head. We're going to tell you in what regards.
And is student loan debt eating away at your cash flow? There's a tax credit that's been around for a little while now, and more Mainers could be taking advantage.
What's up, guys?
Say that again.
Joe's thinking of the people in Florida. I know it's kind of insane to watch some of these images of Panama City Beach, Florida, some of the bars and hotels and high rises are just getting destroyed. It's a place where I used to go for spring break, yeah, it's just crazy looking at that. People are saying go out and vote. It's the only way our voices are heard. That's what David says. It's good to be engaged.
Seriously, guys, keep in mind that as far as the healthcare stuff is concerned, there is so much to dive into with the pre-existing conditions, the universal access to healthcare, and obviously they have very differing opinions on how that should go. Are we moving?
Yeah, we're going to the newsroom. Yeah.
So if you want to hear everything they have to say, go to our website and check out the debates so you can hear them in their own words and kind of make your decision based on what they say.
So if you want, for this for this newsroom thing, first we have a scripted thing, and you have the last read on that. So I can start us off with the Netflix one, and then I'll let you take it from there. And if you want to start the Waze thing, you can. If not, I can. It's whatever you want to do.
Okay.
But I'll start the Netflix thing.
So you want to do AT&T and I'll do carpool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously chime in like whenever.
Sure.
If you guys are still watching on Facebook, a couple of things that caught our eyes today. We're going to talk more about it coming up, but there's a new Waze app that's introducing something that you might already be familiar with. And do you watch Netflix? Do you use Netflix or Hulu or any of those streaming apps? There's another option for you coming soon. So that's interesting to me.
Stand by.
On the heels of a summer when Portland, Maine was named the top foodie destination, another city by the same name is earning top ranks for the same thing. In August, Bon Appetit magazine named Portland, Maine the top food destination for its 2018 Restaurant City of the Year.
But now Wallet Hub has named Portland, Oregon #1 as its top food city in the country. So we'll have a little fun with this one because it appears to be the battle of the Portlands. Share with us right now on our Facebook and YouTube live streams why you think Portland, Maine deserves the top spot when it comes to all things delicious. By the way, according to Wallet Hub's latest survey, Portland, Maine ranks number 48. Lewiston's on it too at number 164.
All right, a couple of tech headlines that caught our eyes today. If you watch Netflix, Hulu, any of those, you're going to have another option come 2019 because AT&T announced today that it's going to, throw its hat into the ring for the streaming service competition. Pretty interesting stuff there.
And if you have like anything like Prime or Hulu or any of these streaming services, a lot of people talk about the more competition, the better it is. Also, the app Waze, it's known for GPS, is rolling out a new carpool matching feature, kind of the same way that Uber does ride sharing. 2 apps is what you're going to need for the new feature: the regular Waze app and Waze Carpool. The riders can pay a fee based on mileage, and the company says it's a way to reduce the number of cars on the road. Technically, Google owns the app, and they bought it in 2013 for $1.3 billion with a B dollars.
I use Waze all the time. Not sure if I'm on board yet, just right away with the ride-sharing app, but with the car-sharing, carpool, we'll have to see what happens. All right, let's see what you guys have to say with our Pulse results tonight. 61% of you saying yes, there should be some age restrictions, some limitations to who can trick or treat. Oh, should be allowed, I'm sorry, should be allowed to trick or treat. So
right, no age restrictions. No matter how old you are, you should be allowed to trick or treat based on that story earlier about the age restrictions. We'll be right back after this break.
Not that I know of.
All right.
Oh, that was funny. Alrighty. So 61% say yes, there should be no age restriction. Yes for no?
That's what I thought I heard Isaac say.
Yeah, yes for no.
That's confusing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Joe missed the whiteboard. Keith's wondering, in his pulse poll, should Nexie, I almost said Nexie Sons. Sometimes I do that when I'm really stressed out. I take the first word
Are you really
of
stressed
two
out?
words and I swap it. I guess so. Should sexy nun costumes exist? Is that your pulse poll?
It is.
It is.
Should
I'm
not.
disturbed by some costumes, and like, granted, for like a certain age period in college, that's the goal of costumes, to pretend you're dressing up but really not to wear any clothes. But the nun is just like a little too far for me. It's just like a little too weird.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. My brother did just buy a like priest costume because he's going as. Have you guys ever seen the movie Casper? There's that comedian in it that wears like the priest garb with the black hat and the red aviators.
That's different. You can dress up as a.
Yeah.
I just think
He's going as that guy.
yeah.
It just
Yeah.
shouldn't.
I
it
don't know
shouldn't
his name.
Come in a package that's this big, probably.
I think your argument is you shouldn't pretend that you're being something with like a kind of a
twist
thrown
on it.
together costume,
Yes.
and it's the
And like, let me just say that
risque
Paula did
version
this to
of-
me for years.
Hmm?
Paula did this to me for years.
Yeah.
She's like, let's be comic book characters. I'll be the one with no clothes. Let's be referees. I'll be the one with no
Did
clothes.
she say those verbatim?
Yep. That's how it was.
That's how she said it?
Right.
Oh.
And I was like,
The ones that blow my mind that are like, the sexy trash can. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
how
yeah,
did you
yeah.
come up with that?
Yeah.
Like,
Coco, I'll start this one,
Sure.
and then after student loans, you can take it from there if you
Is the
want.
whole story? Are we gonna get Sam's story in?
Yeah.
yeah, we are after weather.
After what?
So you start and I pick it up at but if you live and work in
Sure.
Maine.
Yeah. $1.5 trillion. The latest numbers from the Federal Reserve show that's where we're at as a nation when it comes to student loan debt.
But if you live and work in Maine, there's help available to pay off student loans. It's called the Opportunity Maine Tax Credit, and it reimburses student loan payments for Mainers who meet a certain criteria. Representative Maddie Daughtry of Brunswick was a sponsor of the student loan payback offer. She says graduates don't seem to know about it and are not taking advantage.
By not taking advantage of the program, you literally are leaving money on the table. And for some students, it can be upwards of $4,000, which is a lot of money.
So there is a catch. If you graduated prior to 2008, you do not qualify. Representative Daughtry says the program has been around for a while, but it has changed over time, and we have more information at our website and mobile app.
Hey, so you saw those videos of the people graduating. It felt like May out there today, Keith, huh? It felt like June or July.
Yeah, I was gonna say
did.
better than May. We do typically get a couple of these days in October, but as I mentioned, what's weird about it to me is it's humid.
Yeah.
Like southern Maine is legitimately humid out, and that's something you don't see in October much. But
No.
we saw it a lot this summer, so we just kind of kept that rolling through into the fall. Now, this is exactly what we talked about yesterday. What a split state right now. Caribou 47, 82 in Portland. And this front, if you were following it today, you would see that it was hung up in Bangor, then hung up in Rockland, and now moving towards Wiscasset, and they'll drop shortly. All of us will start dropping later this afternoon and into this evening as that front kind of backpedals through the state. But as I mentioned, look at these dew points, upper 60s in a lot of spots, so uncomfortable air on October 10th, and that's what's harder to do in the atmosphere this time of the year. It typically doesn't hold as much moisture, but we did it today and it was warm and humid, almost hot at times. Got to 84 degrees officially in a couple of spots. Current temperatures were not the only ones. Boston got to 86 today. This front, though, backdooring all the way down into southern New England by later tonight, and party's over after that. Everyone cools down. A couple of showers, even a rumble of thunder there along 95 as these convective bands set up down to our south. All of us will likely see an isolated shower tonight as the front moves through, but it's not going to be anything overly heavy. That being said, once we get the temperatures back down in the 50s, tomorrow is a totally different day. It is more fall at this point. 50s, showers transitioning to a heavier rain through the afternoon, and then another batch of heavy rain on Thursday night. We wake up on Friday, it's windy, it's cloudy. This is what's left of Michael, just moving off to our south and east at that point. And then we should clear out by Friday afternoon. And the weekend looks decent, not amazing, but decent. Rainfall amounts here from our event tomorrow, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in a lot of spots. So significant rain coming through tomorrow. There's Michael looking good, still closing the eye wall a bit as it moves inland on its way into southwestern parts of Georgia. Winds were very strong with this, and the devastation, the pictures coming out of it pretty strong from the wind damage side of things. Wind speeds still in the 50s, even inland into the 40s, and these stations, by the way, were knocked out by the wind, so we're not sure exactly how strong the winds got because they knocked the actual sensor offline. That does happen in some of these high-end category 4 and 5 storms. The remnants of Michael will get pushed out to sea by a cold front, and again, it will get close-ish to us on Friday, just enough that we can feel the breeze, and then it cools down for the weekend. Sorry guys. What is this? A little snow in the mountains next week? All right, moving on.
No.
So before that happens, weekend looks decent. Isolated showers Saturday, Sunday the better of the 2 weekend days. But yeah, next week is cool enough that the mountains start mixing with some snow. And there you have it, October in Maine in a nutshell.
Jess Conley is cheering.
Yeah. I want to see what her enthusiasm is like late February, because she came out strong last year, real excited about the snow, and then she was like kind of over it by then.
Well, 4 nor'easters later.
Yeah, that was it. It was the 4 Easter.
Yeah, the 4 Easter. All right.
Hey, we promised you that Sam KY's story would air later in the show. Here it is.
Halloween is right around the corner. So should you be worried to send your teens out trick-or-treating? This article claims it's illegal if you're over the age of 12, stating you could be fined and even face jail time. But is it true? Is it illegal to go trick-or-treating if you're over the age of 12? Well, according to Virginia law, in the city of Chesapeake, you can be fined anywhere from $25 to $100 and be sentenced to 6 months in jail if you're out asking for candy over the age of 12. And get this, being out past 8 p.m. is also against the law in the city. So back to the question, is it illegal? The simple answer is yes, but only in certain places.
So, no crazy laws like this in Maine that we know of. We tried to look into it today.
That's the good news.
Yeah.
All right, more news coming up at 5:30. Amanda Hill is here for Cindy to preview. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Chris and Lindsay. Coming up tonight, imagine being outed by your community. That's what a family in Maine says happened to them. From discriminating text messages to fear in school, find out what happened. And if you could experience what it's like to die, would you even want to? We're checking out a virtual reality simulation that allows people who are going to work in hospice care to experience what that's like. That's all ahead at 5:30. Back to you guys.
I'm very curious about that one. Don't forget, vote in our Pulse poll over the break. Join the conversation on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll be right back with Brain Drops. All right. Oh wait, there is something I wanted to say. Norma says, I'd rather have teens out trick-or-treating than partying any day.
Yeah, fair enough.
Alrighty.
I don't know. Again, as long as what's going on is innocent and good, I don't have a problem with kids over 12 trick-or-treating. I'm curious what the reasoning is.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
I know.
I wish I had heard that in that story. Like, why was that decision ever made? How did that become a law?
Right.
You know, were there too many kids over the age of 12 that were getting the police called on them for throwing eggs at houses? Or
I think you're gonna have more time for brain drops today. You want me to take that for you?
Okay, that's fine.
Because usually we hit this at 5:27 and it's 5:24.
Really?
So I think we're a little light. Yeah, it's usually 5:27 when we stand here.
If only we had a producer who knew the answer. Isaac, how much time do we have? I asked for 2.
Oh, so then yeah, you should be fine.
Because we have some, it's kind of a talker to some degree.
Yeah, I would just mention that.
Okay.
That's the one you found.
Wood pellets. I'm not mean enough for wood pellets. Okay, thank you. I'll do like a wood fireplace for ambiance, but I'm not chopping wood.
I like chopping wood. It's hard, but it's fun.
A good workout.
It's
I
fun.
might not be able to pull
It's
this
very
up and
satisfying
down.
when you actually
Do you guys
split
have
it.
a fireplace?
No. A fire pit.
You can come chop some wood around your place.
Stand by.
They got a bunch in the
There we
garage
go.
already.
I got it.
There you go.
Huge thank you to everyone real quick who joined our Facebook conversation tonight about the trick-or-treating laws. Norma says she'd rather have teens out trick-or-treating than partying any day. So thank you to everyone who voted in our Pulse poll as well.
Let's take a look at those final results real quick before we get to Keith. 58% of you saying yes. Do you think teens should be allowed to trick-or-treat? About 19% of you saying I don't care. About 23% of you are saying no, that teens should not be allowed to trick-or-treat. And again, all based on that law from Virginia that prevented 12-year-olds from being out, especially past 8 p.m.
If you
Charge
don't
them with a
care, why
crime.
vote? I'm just throwing that out there. Like, don't vote, I don't care. That doesn't make any sense. All right, let's, 2-part brain drops today. First, they just launched what will be the world's longest flight coming up here. It's going to be from Newark to Singapore. So about 19 hours of flight time.
Wow.
What's interesting about this is they are not doing economy. They're saying, like, you should not be on a flight that long in an economy seat. It's all flat beds, comes with some lobster, $4,000 round trip flight. Okay, so this all leads into the longest flight. I don't know what the longest flight you guys have ever been on. 12 hours was the longest one-leg flight I've ever been on. And do you remember what you felt like at the end of that?
Mm-hmm.
Like terrible, right? There's a scientific reason for that. Let's go to the next image here. A couple of reasons that you feel like you just feel terrible on a plane. Let's put it that way.
Dehydrated, right?
Dehydrated is one of them. So the relative humidity of the plane is very low. The reason for this, it's very cold aloft, right? Temperatures -30, -40 degrees. That air can't hold that much moisture. So when it's pulled into the plane through the air intake heat exchanger, it warms it up so it's more palatable to you. You're not going to put -30 air in the plane, but it's still dry. So they put a little bit of humidity in it, but not much. So it is much drier than what you'd find on a normal environment when you're in a plane. The other thing is they're pressurized. Yes, they have to be or we die. However, they're only pressurized to the legal level of 8,000 feet, which means that when you're in a plane, it's between 6,000 and 8,000 feet is what it feels like at cruising altitude. So it's like sitting on top of a mountain for whatever it might be, 10, 12 hours. So if you live at sea level, like many of us do, then it's like going to Denver and just sitting down there. And the other thing is that your blood pressure changes as you sit for a long period of time. So these are all the reasons that you might feel terrible when you get off a plane. Now, if you do this a lot, when I used to fly a lot, I used to get good at just chugging a bunch of water. That was one of the things. Even though a lot of people like to drink on a plane because they get nervous, that really is, like, for a number of reasons, not a great plan. And you have to be the guy who knocks on your neighbor's shoulder and says, I'm just going to get up and walk around a little. Like, I used to be so weird about doing that, and then you take these 10, 11-hour flights and you get over it.
You gotta just do it.
So 19 hours, guys.
Is there a rule against if you're on that outside seat? Can you not fall asleep? Can you stay? Do you have to stay awake?
I hate when people take Ambien and get knocked out right away. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not standing here for 11 hours. So yeah, I'll just climb over you.
All right, news you can use. News Center Man at 5:30's got more of that, and it starts right now.
All right, cool.
Alrighty, bye everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
I think it's more awkward.
That was actually really interesting.
That was a good one, Keith.
Don't wake them up.
Yeah.